kind of got wrapped up in.
Of all the things that were made public during this whole period, which was the most leading or hurtful?
I think the racist thing is probably the most hurtful for me because I've always had great relationships with people of all backgrounds. And I made a joke, and I was trying to be a funny guy, and it was taken away in a way I didn't want to be taken.
It's a hard rain, it's gonna fall.
In the spring of 1998, Collins was an alcoholic quarterback without a team. The Giants were a defensive team without a quarterback.
When his name was first brought up, I was probably skeptical as far as, because all I knew about Kerry Collins was what I'd read. The perception of racist, you know, alcoholic, everything was negative. There was nothing positive. And we get caught up sometimes in reading the papers and listening to the stories and not really knowing what happened.
Collins' arrival was less than celebrated in the Giants' locker room. Few players wanted the locker next to his.
He was in one locker, he come in the next day, he was in another locker, and I don't think equipment guys moved him. He had some situations where it's probably pretty uncomfortable for him, but, you know, as I told Coach Fossil, guys have to realize he's going to be here. I mean, this is our quarterback of the future. The same guy that you don't like right now will be the same guy whose neck you're hugging if he wins the Super Bowl for us.
The Giants designed an aftercare treatment program for Collins that included alcohol counseling in graduate school classes that would, quote, occupy his time. Collins took other steps to repair his image.
Every single day, you know, he got up and he got in a car with somebody else different and went to training camp to practice in the morning and, you know, forced himself to meet different players and, you know, forced each person to kind of get to know Kerry for who he is, not for who other people said he was.
I busted my butt since I've been here, not to prove that I wasn't racist, but to prove what kind of person I was and to show these guys who I was.
But you still got to go in that football field and prove that you are the player on the football field. It's just so much we can let you do in locker room. You got to prove yourself for guys to believe in you.
What'll you do now, my blue-eyed son? Oh, what'll you do now, my darling young one?
The emancipation of Kerry Collins didn't occur with the presentation of the NFC Championship trophy. That came earlier in the fourth quarter.
The moment that crystallized it all for us was that Strahan walking up to him on the sideline Sunday night. I'm proud to be your teammate.
That meant more to me than winning that game, really. You know, I mean, that's how important that is to me, because you're gonna win games, you're gonna lose games, and you know, I think it's about, you know, the relationship that you build.
What do you like most about yourself right now?
The things that are going on off the field, you know, how well I'm doing off the field, you know, the lifestyle that I'm living, because that's what makes all of this possible, you know, and that's what's responsible for all of this. So, and I'm happy with the way I'm playing, and I'm happy with the way things are going generally in my career. So, I have a lot to be happy about.
So you've heard a lot about the idea that, you know, Kerry was labeled a racist and a drunk and what have you, but there was still the one incident that led to his departure out of Carolina, which was the time he went to Dom Capers, the coach there, and basically asked out of the lineup, although there's been different versions of that. And Warren Sapp, I'm just wondering, when a guy does that, when he's labeled the quitter, is there any grace period as to when his teammates forgive him, or even players in the league forgive him for that action?
I think the one thing that we have to realize when you talk about a football team is that it is a brotherhood of men, and you have to toe your line. And the thing about Kerry Collins right now, he took all his lumps and his bumps, and right now he's winning. And winning cures all when you talk about a football team. And that's the one thing that we know Steve Young knows a lot about is winning. And with a quarterback, you must win, and that's when your teammates will give you the respect.
I'm sure that's very true, Warren. In fact, I feel like you're one of the smartest defensive linemen I've ever met. I don't know what you're doing with defense, well spoken. But with Kerry Collins, I think he's had a come back from the abyss with a 12-step program that's really just 3 steps. It's the things that every quarterback really needs to be successful. That is a quarterback-friendly head coach in Jim Fossil. This is more unusual than you would think. A quarterback-friendly offensive coordinator in Sean Payton, and the secret weapon, Troy Aikman told me during his Super Bowl years, Jason Garrett, the backup quarterback. It really makes a difference to have those people surrounding you and giving you the help that you need to be successful. Mike, back to you in the 6-mile rule for Mort.
You know, I was worried that I was going to take the wrath of Steve Young. You're on fire. This offense thing has really gotten to you. You pointed out the addition of Jason Garrett. That was one of the great moves this year. And a couple of years ago, there was a lot of criticism about the move made by Fossil and Giants GM Ernie Accorsi for the monetary commitment as well that they made when they signed Kerry Collins, who was cut by New Orleans. It's proven to be a wise investment and could pay the ultimate dividend later tonight.
Coming up on Countdown. In the NFL, looking good is everything. But the
Ravens 3 linebackers on the field. What they will try to do is create some matchups that favor their personnel. You cannot run. Again, you cannot run against this Ravens defense. You must create plays in the passing game. And before I turn it over to you, Miss Colbert, there are a couple stats that you forgot when you were talking about that Ravens team, and I think they're the most important ones. 1 dinner with Ray Lewis and 8 hugs from David Modell. That's why you love the Ravens.
I am not biased. And to prove
Oh,
it,
yes, you are.
let's review. We talked about 1st and 10s. They faced 73 1st and 10s, gave up 2.6 yards per play, and that secondary has matured so much. Case in point, Dwayne Starks. Against the Jags, week 2, he's burned 3 times for scores over the last 5 games. He's broken up 11 passes, 5 interceptions.
1 dinner, 8 hugs. I'm going to go that. Overrides all that improvement.
Can't get past these guys. Both defenses, neither one gives up big plays. Much more to come.
Coming up on Countdown, Shannon Sharpe has his eyes on a 3rd ring, and he just might have to give some thanks to the guys.
Preached one thing over and over again. We must stop the one big play from tight end Shannon Sharpe, the #1 threat on the Ravens defense. Drawing the assignment of playing the role of Shannon Sharpe on the scout team during practices as a practice squad player from Dartmouth named Adam Young.
That'll be like Tony Siragusa trying to imitate Barry Sanders. Is that possible? Probably not.
Adam Young is not a talker. He's from a different tree. He's not a talker.
It's really not my personality. We've got very different personalities, Shannon and I. So, you know, I've done it a little bit jokingly, but just for good fun.
Sharpe is one of a kind. You know, that, like I said, that's a tool that he uses, and it works well for him.
When we play man in certain situations and combinations of coverages, we've got a couple guys we can put on him that we think will match up well with him. But he's still a guy you better watch because he can make the big play, and he's also a continuous go-to guy.
He seems to just have a knack for it, and that's really scary when you see a guy that just has a knack for making big plays. He's been here before. He has experience of winning Super Bowls. He's going to be a guy that Sam and whoever else covering, myself, had to be aware of because we know they're going to try to get the ball to him.
One thing to keep in mind today is the guy who will be covering Shannon Sharpe most of the day is free safety Sean Williams, who, Boomer, has a little bit of a tweaked sore hamstring.
All right, Sal, thank you. See, it's always good to see those Dartmouth guys. We talked Jason Garrett from Princeton earlier. Got to get those Ivy Leaguers into the show. Shannon Sharpe's story with Giants coach Jim Fossil has now officially gone full circle. In many ways, it's like, I guess, the famous tale of Frankenstein. The monster built by Dr. Frankenstein that later became so dangerous that the good doctor was trying to destroy it at the end. Fossil was an assistant in Denver. More on that in a moment. First under Dan Reeves and got a promotion coordinator under Wade Phillips, Denver's Wade Phillips at the time, who helped create Shannon Sharpe, the all-pro tight end. Now as Giants head coach, Fossil needs Sharpe to disappear. Perhaps trying to be Gene Wilder to Peter Boyle. Dan Patrick explains.
When Jim Fossil took over as Broncos offensive coordinator back in 1993, he inherited a team that featured a veteran quarterback headed for the Hall of Fame and a loquacious 4th-year tight end.
Shannon Sharpe is one of my favorite all-time players. He's the type of guy, if you got a Shannon Sharpe on your team, you got a chance to win. And I'm not talking about just his ability. He's the personality, he's the confidence guy that you want.
I give Dan Reeves a lot of credit for discovering me and giving me an opportunity to play. But I think it was Foster that really brought me to the forefront, that gave me the ability to showcase what I can do.
Where did they get a load of me?
While Sharpe had caught 53 passes and made the Pro Bowl during the '92 season, Fossil believed that previous Broncos coaches had only scratched the surface of the tight end's potential.
He had the ability to match up, and you could move him around and move other people around, that who were they going to put on him that could really handle it? Because he's too fast and too quick for most linebackers, and he's too physical for most defensive backs.
Even when it wasn't in vogue, I was lining up out wide running routes like a wide receiver, lining up in the slot running routes like a wide receiver. And I think Fossil, once he realized that, hey, this guy has a special talent, he discovered ways and found ways to get me the football.
A lot of one cover, a lot of singled up stuff, a lot of man. Really? Yeah.
During Fossil's 2-year stay in Denver, Sharp averaged 84 catches per season, made 2 trips to the Pro Bowl, and established himself as one of the premier players in the game.
Anytime we got into tight spaces and we had trouble, I went to Shannon. There was a time when we were going to play the Raiders going to the playoffs, and we were nicked up. And the whole game plan was based around Shannon Sharp catching the ball. We figured out every feasible way possible. I think he caught like 14 balls or 16 balls or whatever it was in the game.
Even when Dan was there were certain times that certain formations or certain routes that I came out. Fossil never told me, say, hey, I don't want you to leave the field. And that was really what got me going.
Hey, keep it going. We got to catch everything, baby.
I always knew when it was 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, 4th quarter, 3 minutes to go, you're driving the ball. All I look for in a play sheet is how I'm going to get the ball to Shannon Sharp. That's all I thought about.
Today, Fossil's thoughts are focused on stopping his former pupil, while Sharp knows that his old coach is standing between him and a 3rd Super Bowl ring.
It's a situation I'm happy for him. I'm happy for his family, as he is for me. But it's going to be a great situation, and I'm sure he's telling John Fox, you watch out for this guy.
Well, certainly a lot of friendships, a lot of personal relationship here as we check the long shot here at the NFL Experience. So we talked a little bit about the story, Sterling, but elaborate a little bit about it. Jim Fossil, Shannon Sharp, and the monster Frankenstein that he created.
Let's take it back while coordinator for Chan Gailey didn't know really how to use him. Wade Phillips, as the defensive coordinator, said, we have no one who can cover him. Maybe we should keep him here. Enter Jim Fossil, and I think that is where the genius began because, as you heard Shannon mention in the feature, here's where he got to run slant and goes, stutter goes, out and ups, which is unheard of for a tight end, although Kellen Winslow was moved around a great deal. And that is where the genius of Jim Fossil began. And Chris Mortensen, probably one step further, where the genius of Jim Fossil continues is the fact that he gave Sean Payton, the offensive coordinator now, the ability.
Big game. You know, I remember sitting at home watching that when I was a big Redskins fan growing up in Virginia and seeing that dominance. You know, that was fun. You know, that's why I said this is what Super Bowl is supposed to be like. The team you like is supposed to dominate the other team, and that's the one that sticks out in my mind.
Next on Countdown, Jeff Hostetler experienced the elation of Super Bowl 25. But his heartache came at home when his son faced a devastating injury.
When I first saw Tyler, I can still see his eyes. Still see.
Lineman does as well as he can do it. You can't do better than Dallas Cowboys offensive lineman Larry Allen.
Well, Larry Allen has played 4 positions on the offensive line, everything except center. He's done them all extremely well. He goes out, tries to physically dominate his opponents. That's why we picked him for this team, Greg.
Number 13, Jonathan Ogden.
Okay, the Baltimore Ravens go to the Super Bowl. You begin looking for reasons. Here's a big reason. A big guy amongst the big men on the offensive line, Jonathan Ogden.
6'8", over 300 pounds. Left tackle, maybe the hardest position to play in the offensive line. Protects the quarterback's blind side. Jonathan Ogden, he's mean, he's nasty, he's tough. In his 5th season, going to his 3rd straight Pro Bowl.
Not necessarily winners.
My first year, we were 1-13.
We had no other place to go, really. And so we stayed together as a team, and we made it work here in Pittsburgh.
This team really took on the identity of this whole city.
I think the toughness is much derived from the city. The players picked that up.
Steel curtain, hard-nosed guys defensively. They've knocked the snot out of you.
And I think it's from the city. I mean, they drink a beer called Iron City, for God's sake.
In 1972, the Pittsburgh Steelers grabbed a decade and never let go. 8 straight trips to the playoffs, a record 4 Super Bowls, all forged by an epic rivalry with the Oakland Raiders that started with a miraculous play by a rookie named Franco Harris.
A unique group of people, too, in the sense that they absolutely demanded the best from everybody around them.
We had a team of great leaders. If you get all the Steelers who played in all 4 of those Super Bowls together, it's hard to get a word in edgewise.
Great players.
Good people. You know, I'm not talking about only good football players, but good people.
The pillars of their performance were a rock-solid running game and the punishing steel curtain defense, led by a menacing middle linebacker, all iron in his bones.
If I was to pick one player that, you know, that was a leader, that was a standard, was Jack Lambert.
Tough, would argue, would fight you, and would intimidate you, wasn't afraid of anybody.
He played hurt, played tired, played sick. He'd probably hate to be called an inspiration, but was an inspiration to the rest of us.
On the sidelines was another inspiration, their no-nonsense coach.
What Chuck brought to this football team was a short-term game plan and a long-term goal.
Very fair, hard, demanding.
And he blended all that great talent that was here on this football team and those personalities and made them a football team. I was scared of it. Without Chuck, we could not have won 6 Super Bowls or 4 Super Bowls in 6 years.
For all the iron in the Steelers, the true source of their strength can be traced to their old school owner. Art Rooney Sr. lived virtually all of his life in this house on the city's north side, just a short ride from Three Rivers Stadium. Rooney excelled in many things, Olympic-caliber boxing, politics, and business, but he was most revered and honored for his role as the chief.
Well, my father, going all the way back, number one, really had an appreciation, a love for the game. You know, the players meant so much to him.
In 1974, we were on strike. The players were that year. When I came home from the strike lines, Mr. Rooney called. That conversation went something like this, and he said, Rock, he said, if you believe in that strike, then you be back up there tomorrow, and you stand on that picket line, and hopefully we can get it handled in the owners' meetings and get this thing taken care of and start playing football. But I just didn't want you to worry.
It wasn't about winning. Now, does that make sense? It was about us as people.
He was a person of great class that saw no class.
There is not anyone like him, nor will there ever be anybody like him in modern sports ownership, ever in the history. Never will happen again. Too much pressure, too much money.
Sometimes it's very difficult for me to talk about it without getting emotional, because those were special times, the bad and the good and the very good and as good as it gets. You know, I wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't change a thing.
Remember when Mean Joe Green gave his jersey to defenses to ever play, if not the greatest defense to ever play, if they go out and win the Super Bowl. But reflecting on what Warren said, the mindset that you have to get in is the thing that's so difficult. It's not about having a more potent offense. It's about we are so good defensively, you don't need to do more offensively.
Mess it up.
That's right. Give us a chance to win the game defensively.
Yes.
I mean, that's the hardest thing to come to grip with if you have this defense.
And another hard thing to come to grips with is everybody wants them to throw the football around and be more productive on offense, which is not what this team needs. You told us at the beginning of the season that we need to create a new offense. The Baltimore Ravens have done so. We know our role, and we don't have to go out and score 40 points with that defense.
Football is over as we know it. You look at those other great defenses. They had offenses led by guys like Roger Staubach, Terry Bradshaw, the Bears with Jim McMahon, and a guy named Walter Payton. You got to be kidding me. These guys are limping, carrying over on their backs the faster than anyone I've ever seen.
They may go down to the history book.
Crazy.
They may go down to the history book.
The history book
could be tinged purple at the end of the day. We're sure.
Coming up on Countdown. Giants DB Jason Sehorn has always been a superstar athlete. But when he suffered back-to-back season-ending injuries, he had to change his ways.
No, linebackers are active football players, but when you come to Tampa Bay's Derek Brooks, he gives new meaning to active.
You know, another one of these guys, nobody knows who Derek Brooks is because he plays with Warren Sapp on that defense. But 117 tackles this year, and look at that, 97 of them by himself. Derek Brooks, fast, quick, and tough.
You know, recovery for a touchdown against the Eagles in the divisional playoffs, that was a play that almost defied belief. Sal Palantonio tells us questions of Jason Sehorn's recovery from knee surgery are now officially over.
In August of 1998, Jason Sehorn was on the verge of stardom.
Sehorn picks it up!
He had intercepted 11 passes in the previous 2 seasons. His team was coming off a playoff berth, and Sehorn had finally convinced Jim Fossil to let him return kickoffs.
And Sehorn comes up limping. That is the danger of having a star defensive back return kicks.
As an athlete, you rely on your body so much, and you rely on your athletic skills. And when you don't have them, you wonder, will I be able to do this again?
Sehorn underwent surgery to repair a torn ACL. As his knee was healing, his marriage was falling apart.
But which one do I focus on? I mean, yeah, the fact that I'm going through a divorce, the fact that I can't play football, I mean, they both suck, quite frankly. And, you know, when you don't feel like you have control of either one, that's when it really gets you.
Sehorn spent the 1998 offseason in California away from his teammates. He hired a personal trainer and immersed himself in rehab. But he missed the first 2 games of the 1999 season with a pulled hamstring. Then in week 13, he broke his leg. Another season-ending injury.
Bad news for the Giants. Jason Sehorn.
The second you leave a football game, and I mean the instant you leave the football game, someone else steps out there for you, and the game goes on. And I really separated myself from everything because it's not an enjoyable process to watch everybody else play football when you can't play.
Sehorn watched the Giants miss the playoffs for a second straight year. But rather than run off to the West Coast this past offseason for more rehab, Sehorn worked out with the team.
I want to be in California. I want to work on the personal trainer. I want to do my own thing. But is that what's best for the team and helping us to become a team? No. When you've got 53 guys splintered across America, there's no team. There's no camaraderie.
Sehorn's new attitude continued during the season.
He's in early. He's out late. He's not the Jason Sehorn of old who was the last one in and the first one to leave.
It has a lot to do with accountability and being able to rely on somebody. And I learned that.
This is a completely new guy. He's high-fiving guys along the bench on the sideline. Those are things he never did.
Grabbed by the Giants, Jason Sehorn. He's going to run it in. And the pass nearly, it is intercepted by Sehorn. He's got it on the run.
Sehorn's professional and personal lives have converged again, this time for the better. Last March, he proposed to actress Angie Harmon on national television. She said yes.
It's nice when your biggest concern or worry in the day is a game. You know, for me, when I wake up in the morning, the only thing I'm concerned with is a game that I have on Sunday. I don't concern myself with my personal life. It's different now to be a part of this whole team aspect. And yeah, to look forward to getting married, I mean, it's a great year so far.
All right, Sal, thank you very much. And Jason, let's bring in Chris Carter from the stadium. Well, no, we're going to bring in Mortimer on Jason Sehorn and the Giants secondary. This is a group, as Sehorn got healthy and Sean Williams became a star. I mean, this is like a microcosm of the whole team. I mean, you can see it grow every week.
That's right, and I know Jim Fossil and John Fox, the defensive coordinator, believe that the most improved part of their team is this secondary. It's the biggest secondary in the NFL. Some people think they have 4 safeties playing back there, but the one safety you mentioned, Sean Williams, yeah, he is a key. He's been nursing a hamstring injury, but this is a guy they feel has always been an excellent tackler. He's not going to miss a tackle like maybe the Raiders did, but he's been playing in space, and his ability to cover the tight end, Shannon Sharp, clearly a key to the game, Chris Carter.
Yes, it is a key to the game, but I think also if you look at the piece on Jason Sehorn, he's really the only veteran, long-term player in the secondary, and I believe with his stability, it's helped bring a very, very average secondary that is playing very, very good. You know, Dave Thomas, he's going to be on an island in today's game, and he's going to have to play very, very good football. I believe Jason will neutralize whatever receiver that he is guarding, but Sean Williams is the key to their secondary because he has to guard Shannon Sharp one-on-one, and can he guard Shannon Sharp and stay on him like a cheap suit? And the rumor is you two guys know something about a cheap suit.
Now, wait a minute. Now, just I pulled my pants up, all right, pal? Cheap suit. You know, who let him on this show? Have him removed.
6 miles.
We shall see if there are any balls up for grab, if Sehorn or the Giants secondary can get that turnover to help jumpstart their offense. When we return, plenty more. As, let's see here, what do we got? They're making footballs. We got nothing else to do. We're playing the Super Bowl. We might need that later on. We'll be back.
Get super savings.
Stu, what do you guys got?
More, I'll tell you what. For the first time since '92, there have been 2 shutouts in the postseason. Warren, what's the best way for the Giants to make the first shutout in the Super Bowl?
Steve Hamilton has to play a big game, the game of his life. Inside, he has to dominate to stop Jamal Lewis in his running game for the Giants to have a chance.
Well, the Giants do have a chance, but the only way they're going to have a chance is Kerry Collins believes his script. And his script was his offense has been less effective than Baltimore. Baltimore's been getting all the attention as far as their point total and what Trent Dilfer has done during the season. But in all actuality, the Giants' offense scored 5 less points than the Ravens offense did during the regular season. And he's going to have to believe his script and play his role like he did all throughout the regular season and through the playoffs.
Guys, the last 5 teams to score twice as many points as they allowed won the Super Bowl. The Ravens this year scored twice as many points as they allowed. Raymond James Stadium, 70,000 strong will pack inside of this place. Super Bowl 35 coming up. We are coming back to wrap up the show. Stay with us.
Mort's going to throw to you, Steve, so you got one list. And the traffic coming towards, you know, you can never get here too early. 4 hours, 20 minutes until the game. And, of course, after our friends at CBS are done, we wish them a good evening. Tommy and I and Steve on NFL Primetime. That's about 10:30 Eastern Time. One team hasn't lost since Halloween. One team hasn't lost since Thanksgiving. What will happen? And after that, SportsCenter follows the game. As we thank our friends at Monster.com for all the aerials like this one of Raymond James Stadium, a.k.a. the new sombrero. And we return our picks here on Super Bowl Countdown.
This year, but he epitomizes what Tennessee is all about.
Greg, he does. I shouldn't even have to say this. He's tough. He's physical. Eddie George has the will to win. He pushes himself so hard. That's why Tennessee is successful.
Our congratulations to Tennessee running back Eddie George, a fitting team captain of this year's All-Iron team.
And Greg, I just know that Bill Parcells, he did it right when he gave Eddie George those keys.
So I have a delivery for you. Hold that. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Phil, for selecting me as the captain of the Ironman team. This truck will come in handy. Appreciate it.
Congratulations. Thanks.
Well, that wraps the second annual Phil Simms All-Iron Team. Terrific player.
The NFL Countdown is brought to you by Red Bull.
Nothing left but to pick the winner of Super Bowl 35. And since there are 6 Miami Hurricanes in the game, 4 in the Ravens, 2 in the Giants, we'll start with the cool cane.
No doubt about it, baby. The big fella is rolling with Saragusa. The goose will be loose. 17-3 Ravens. Let's go, Mr. Touchdown, man.
I believe in you. I like Saragusa, but I have to go with the Minnesota Vikings East. Ravens 13, Giants 6.
Well, Chris, I actually see the Baltimore defense scoring a touchdown today, and then that will be it. The Giants defense will dominate this game, and I think the offense makes just enough plays for the Giants to win this 16-10. Steve?
Thanks, 6 Mile Mort. I refuse to yield. I wanted to say 6-5, but I grew up going to the Yale Bowl to watch Giant games. Giants 27-22.
I shouldn't have to explain myself because I was the only member of this group to pick the Ravens to go back in July. But I think offensively, both of these offenses are going to be very, very supportive of each other's defenses. I think the score is going to be 29-18. I'm picking the Baltimore Ravens, and I think that because I believe Trent Dilfer will play very composed, and they will throw it around a lot more than people think.
Well, Sterling, I think it's going to be a great game. The Giants have played in 2 other Super Bowls, and they have yet to commit a turnover. Jim Fossil is hoping that that will be contagious.
Well, they've played in
Giants 17, Ravens 12.
They've played in 2 Super Bowls, and in each one of them there has been a safety. One by the Giants, one against the Giants. I think the Giants parlay 2 safeties, a touchdown, and then they fumbled the kick, but they converted for a 2-point conversion. Final score, Giants 12, Ravens 11. Even though the Ravens are trying to say, quote the Ravens, just one more. I mean, that's all they want. Do we, an MVP, can you get 1 for 96 and be an MVP, Sterling?
I believe that Trent Dilfer, if the Baltimore Ravens win, Trent Dilfer's my MVP, boom.
Well, you know, again, I refuse to go through this too much more. I got to believe that a guy like Kerry Collins, who's been to the championship game before, you know, did so well last week, a couple weeks ago, get his feet under him early in the game, and he's the MVP.
If the Giants win, I think it will be Kerry Collins because I think they win the game throwing the ball. If the Ravens win, then Ray Lewis is not only the MVP of this game, but any other MVP awards to be handed out, he should have gotten them.
It'll be interesting to see if either coach, who are very good friends, if either coach cracks. And by that I mean here's what we're going to do, but the game isn't really away from us yet. But do I stay with what I do, or do I make a change? And if I make a change, then you're getting out of what you're most comfortable. And we got to thank Warren Sapp for being with us. We want to thank Kurt Warner for being with us. We want to thank Chris Carter. All he does is join us at the Super Bowls. We want to thank those guys very much for taking part in this show. And Warren was going to outdress Sterling. What do we think, guys? Yeah.
Hey, Warren, you looking tight, baby. I got to give it up. You looking tight.
For everybody else who's been a big part of this Sunday NFL Countdown all year, Jay Levy, Steph Drewley to put this all together so you can watch it out there. For Sterling, Steve, and Tom, I'm Chris Berman. Enjoy the Super Bowl.
Sunday NFL Countdown is a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.
Sports Extreme Super Bowl, presented by NFL Game Day 2001 on PlayStation 2.
Now that's what I call suspended animation. Hello, everybody. I'm Dan Deerdorf, and welcome to Extreme Super Bowl, presented by NFL Game Day 2001. We're here in our state-of-the-art virtual studio for a unique look at today's Ravens-Giants Super Bowl 35 matchup in 3D as well as several other dimensions. And whether you're just a casual fan or a real aficionado of the X's and the O's, we've got something for everybody. Now, to come up with this unique perspective, we drafted some of our CBS Sports NFL analysts and locked them in with VCRs and miles of game footage. Now, they looked at more hours of film than the judges at the Academy Awards. And the result is that they're going to break down the Ravens and the Giants by individual units and tell you who has the edge in each category. And we have a few surprises, including my buddy Sam Weish, who's going to pop up from time to time.
Dan, I'll share some inside tidbits from the perspective of someone who's been fortunate enough to be part of 3 of these Super Bowls. One is a backup quarterback, one is an assistant coach, and one is a head coach.
Thanks, Sam. Right now, let's get started with a look at my own personal favorite group of players, the most handsome, the most virile, the most intelligent group of guys who make up the offensive line. All right, let's check out the Ravens first. Here they're sitting in an I formation with the 2 backs and 2 wide receivers. It's a very conventional running formation. Wouldn't you think so? Well, it's not. If we take a look here at right tackle Harry Swain, left tackle Jonathan Ogden, and they're going to form a perfect play action pocket because this is a passing play. Jamal Lewis, the big back, just the threat of him running is going to freeze the defensive lineman. Trent Dilfer sits in a beautiful pocket. This is a formation and a play that they'll run 10 to 12 times in today's game. Let's go back to Baltimore's game 3 weeks ago with Tennessee. Same I formation, only this time it's going to be a run. Number 75, Jonathan Ogden, is going to get the kick-out block. Left guard, Edwin Mulatalo, number 64, is going to come down. Jeff Mitchell at center is going to come over with a double team. Then they're going to scrape off. Now, as we watch this thing roll, coming into play is this man right here, the 6th offensive lineman of the Baltimore Ravens, a guard in the backfield, number 32, Sam Gash. He blows up the linebacker. Jamal Lewis gets another big run because of Sam Gash. Now let's take a look at the New York Giants. 3 receivers to this side of the field. You think it's going to be a pass. Well, you're right, it is, but guess what? One of these guys is going to block. That's tight end Howard Cross. Now let's take a look at right tackle Luke Pettigrew and Kerry Collins, the quarterback. These 2 are going to come out because this is an all-out roll, and then Collins is going to deliver the pass downfield. Watch the down block right here by Howard Cross. Boy, he just snuffs the defensive end right on the line of scrimmage. The athletic Pettigrew out front, Collins with all sorts of time, and easy completion to Ike Hilliard. It's the New York Giants that now set up in the I formation. You see the back stacked right there. 1 receiver to either side of the formation. A classic run set, and that's exactly what they're going to do. It's Tiki Barber, though, who's not going to follow his fullback. Instead, he's going to...
And if you ask me, when you talk about defense, it's what's up front that counts.
Defensive line.
This is why I like the Ravens' defensive front. Take a look at Eddie George. and see what he sees as tackles Tony Siragusa and Sam Adams occupy 3 offensive linemen, leaving Ray Lewis a free run at the running back. Take a look at what Eddie George sees as he's redirected to the pursuit of the Ravens. This is a fundamentally sound defensive front 4, and they will eat you up every play. This Ravens defensive front puts a lot of pressure on teams without running blitzes. What they do is they run line stunts. Here you have Burnett coming to the inside, you have McCrary coming to the inside, Adams coming to the inside, and you have Dalton coming all the way around to create a stunt. This puts a lot of pressure on teams without blitzing. The Giants' best defensive weapon, number 92, Michael Strahan. Watch him on this play as he blows up right tackle Corey Stringer and pushes him into quarterback Dante Culpepper and disrupts the play, even though he doesn't get the sack.
We've just seen what Michael Strahan can do against a quality right tackle. Today's most critical Super Bowl matchup may be between Michael Strahan and Baltimore's Harry Swain. We can expect the Ravens to help Swain with either a tight end or fullback Sam Gash.
The Giants play a 4-3 base defense to perfection. Each gap is accounted for, and they're fundamentally sound. It's nothing fancy, but they get the job done. I give my extreme edge to Baltimore because of their big and mobile tackles, Sam Adams and Tony Siragusa. They allow their linebackers to come up and make plays along the line of scrimmage.
Thanks, Charles. And when we come back, our Craig James, who carried the ball for New England in Super Bowl 20, will compare a giant storm of thunder and lightning to another force of nature, Raven rookie Jamal Lewis.
Go behind the scenes of Super Bowl 35.
Ryan Billick's Ravens upset the Titans in the divisional playoffs as Ray Lewis wrestled a pass away from Eddie George and returned the interception 50 yards for a touchdown.
Ray Lewis has the ball. Could go all the way. 20, still on his feet. 10, 5. Touchdown, Ray Lewis. All right, 50 yards.
From Texas A&M, number 95, Sam Adams. At left end, from Syracuse, number 90, Rob Burnett. At right end, from Wake Forest, number 99, Michael McCrary. At left cornerback, from Miami, number 22, Dwayne Starks. At right cornerback, from Arizona, number 21, Chris McAllister. At strong safety, from Penn State, number 20, Kim Herring. At free safety, from Purdue, number 26, Rod Woodson. At right linebacker, from Virginia, number 55, Jamie Sharper. At left linebacker, from Florida State, number 58, Peter Boulware. At middle linebacker, from Miami, number 52, Ray Lewis. And the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens, Brian Billick. And now, the National Football Conference champion New York Giants. Let's meet the Giants' defensive starters. At free safety from UCLA, number 36, Sean Williams. At strong safety from Cincinnati, number 20, Sam Garnes. At right cornerback from Southern Cal, number 31, Jason Sehorn. At left cornerback from Tennessee, number 41, Dave Thomas. At right end, from Oklahoma, number 94, Cedric Jones. At right tackle, from Pittsburgh, number 75, Keith Hamilton. At left tackle, from Nebraska, number 99, Christian Peter. At outside linebacker, from Idaho, number 91, Ryan Phillips. Let's go, baby, come on. Let's go, At middle linebacker, from Miami, 58, Mike. At left end, from Texas Southern, number 92, Michael Strahan. At outside linebacker, from Miami, number 98, Jesse Armstead. And the head coach of the New York Giants, Jim Fassel. Our national anthem and America the Beautiful, all coming up from Raymond James Stadium just prior to Super Bowl 35, right after this.
Introducing Motor Trend Sport Utility of the Year, the Acura MDX, with available navigation system and off-road tracking.
Change things up. Get a little wild.
Mix it up with McDonald's new taste menu.
Surprise yourself. Let loose a while.
Unexpected new tastes that are always changing, plus your old favorites. So there's always something different to try. Hey, variety is the smile of life.
The internet helps you reach millions of customers around the globe. But who's keeping you in touch with the internet? Fujitsu. The possibilities are infinite.
Need to crunch something? Grab a new Snickers Cruncher. Crispy rice, peanuts, and chocolate. Crunchy. Hungry? Crunch this.
Tonight I present to you material of a violent nature.
On March 9th.
You're going to jeopardize my case.
If it bleeds, it leads. How far would you go?
Just tell us where we can find these guys.
For your 15 minutes.
I've got to kill someone famous. You think you're going to get away with it, huh?
Robert De Niro. Edward Burns.
You want headlines? You want to make money? You want to be a celebrity? Shoot me!
15 minutes. Rated R. Starts Friday, March 9th.
The Charles Schwab Super Bowl Kickoff Show is presented by Charles Schwab. When we created a smarter kind of investment firm, we also created a smarter kind of investor. Singular, the wireless company that believes in the value and joy of self-expression. And by the Acura MDX, Motor Trend Sport Utility of the Year.
2001 marks the 225th birthday of the United States. And with us to celebrate by singing America the Beautiful, 15-time Grammy Award winner, the legendary Ray Charles.
Yeah,
10 years ago this month, the United States led a coalition of allied forces to stop aggression in the Persian Gulf. That action, known as Operation Desert Storm, was directed by United States Central Command, based here at Tampa's MacDill Air Force Base. We are proud to have with us today veterans of that conflict, representing the thousands who gave so much for our country. They are led by a true American hero, Desert Storm Commander-in-Chief, retired Army General Norman Schwarzkopf. And now, to honor all those brave American men and women, please join in the singing of our national anthem, which will be followed by a flyover by the United States Air Force's Thunderbirds. The anthem, produced by Ricky Minor, will be signed for the hearing impaired by Tampa's Tom Cooney. Ladies and gentlemen, the world's most successful pop group, Florida's own, the Backstreet Boys.
So proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose white stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly
A spectacular pregame ceremony has come to an end. The coin toss and the opening kickoff of Super 35 is next.
Have you ever heard of the Clock of Ages?
On June 15th,
let us twist time.
Time will stand still.
The future is yours.
Your seeing eye. And the fate of mankind will rest in the hands of one.
Don't start.
Angelina Jolie.
Time to save the universe?
Absolutely.
Tomb Raider, June 15th, everywhere.
And here, throwing razor-sharp implements backwards at my defenseless little friend, Teller, who at the same time is eating the one and only stuffed crust pizza from Pizza Hut, also backwards. Backwards is the only way to get to that 360 degrees of mouth-mesmerizing cheese right inside the crust for a price that, unlike this cleaver, is as painless backwards as it is forwards. Just $9.99. Don't try this at home. Stuffed crust pizza. Eat it backwards.
Ooh, nice.
If you've got a business to run, Staples has everything you need at guaranteed low prices.
We got to get that contract signed.
Sir, did you order the Kung Pao chicken?
Yeah, it's going to be a long night.
Staples, yeah, we've got that.
It's the only vehicle of its kind with full-time all-wheel drive and a 325 horsepower V8. Is it possible the ultimate performance and control machine isn't German? Isn't Italian? And isn't a car? Introducing the GMC Sierra C3.
Experience the clarity of high-definition television from RCA, HD simulcast sponsor of Super Bowl 35.
Inside this plane